You are watching the number one podcast in the whole entire youth wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean Paul Leek.
Together we are
Rope Break.
And once again, Friday night, so guys know that it's gonna be time to talk about SmackDown. And actually, this past couple of weeks, it hasn't been that a big load, right? It's been just a tiny, the build-up for WrestleMania is still on. Fastlane is in the middle, so we got a little bit of, maybe a match for Fastlane, maybe not. So, we have a lot of to talk about this show, but, your thoughts on this, Paul?
Oh, I mean, I thought SmackDown, at least this week, and, starting last week a little bit, we saw things, some seriousness pick up. This week, I thought was a fantastic show. I love the opening segment. I know we always make jokes as it's like, oh, what are we going to hear? Is it who's it going to be? And we're like, it's already done.
50 seconds and done.
But no, I mean, it was great opening segment and only one or two, things on the show I really didn't care for. But overall, SmackDown, I thought if you're doing all the WWE shows this week, this was definitely better than Raw, better than NXT. I would say NXT UK still was better than this, but I mean, this was a very solid show for me.
Exactly. So you're talking about NXT UK. So please, family, support us with this video. Pretty Deadly did it. They did it again. No, they just did it. So they're the new NXT UK Tag Team Champions. They beat Gallus in absolutely outstanding match. We loved it. And, we've been supporting these guys. We actually thought they were going to be a little bit like Breezango, like jobbers, and they look a little metrosexual. But no, they're actually good wrestlers. They actually heard what we said. Can you please have a combined finisher? They did it. Spill milk. They're the champions. So please, just watch this video. NXT UK is the best brand in the WWE, so give it a shot. So also, we just want to say thank you to everybody that is, supporting us, with comments, subscriptions. Please keep doing so. Subscribe, like I mentioned, hit the bell for notifications, and a big hi to our friends of Wrestling with Joners, to John, everybody there that is supporting us also. Thank you so very much for doing so. So, Jean-Paul, this show started, like you said, 50 seconds in, and that's the face I have. When I see this guy come out, I have the same exact, face. Can I please have a different start to the show? Because every single week is like the same formulaic crap, and I absolutely hate it, Paul. So, what do you think? I'm like, oh my God, what is he gonna say now? So, we got a little bit of like what happened on the Elimination Chamber, and then he comes out and he says, well, it's it's not a secret that SmackDown needs me. Elimination Chamber needed me, and I answered the call. So, and that's why I'm the tribal chief, the head of the table, and I defended the Universal Championship, and, I beat Daniel Bryan, a beatdown of the decade. So that's what he did, and then he goes and starts talking about Edge, and he's like, well, Edge, you're a family man, and also, I don't want to hurt you. You have a, wife, kids, so why don't you just, instead of, just, turn down, that opportunity that you said that you want me at WrestleMania. So that line I didn't like. Because remember, Paul, he starts 2 weeks ago. I want you to run WrestleMania. And now it's like, no, I don't want you to,
Oh, yeah, that's the thing with Roman and a lot of people. I mean, I like him a lot better as a heel than a babyface. But if you listen to a lot of his heel promos, he starts going one way. And then at the end of it, the promo, he's gone a completely different way.
Yeah.
But he delivers it, his tone of voice and the way he delivers it, it all sounds good. But if you actually, let's say, writing his promo down on a piece of paper and reading it in your head, you'd be like, what the hell? This doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
Because like you said last week, it's like, oh, you need me, I need, and then Edge is like, you don't need me. Or he said, I don't need you, you need me to be the main event because I'm the Royal Rumble winner. So they were playing off that. And then now this week, he's like, oh, I don't need you. So it's like, Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck season, rabbit season. It's like, come on, what's going on here?
Yes, and that's the one thing that really bothered me because it's just I didn't want to I didn't want to just to be like Roman like that, oh this week I don't want you and then the next week I want you. But
no, they should know. It should just be let's get the intensity on. Let's start building towards this match at WrestleMania. It's set, it's locked in. Let's not be dancing around it anymore.
Exactly. So and then Roman says Edge doesn't stand a chance against a man like me. So okay, at least he finishes good, right? He starts the well.
Yeah.
Maybe backed off, but you don't even stand a chance. So the big dog is like all good. He wants to finally he wants to have the match with Edge. Thank you so very much that is watching. Every single one of you, please comment. Let us know how you guys feel about this show, SmackDown. Let us know what you guys feel about this build-up for like WrestleMania, and in the middle also like Fastlane. So Daniel Bryan comes out and he says, hey, you're right. Like you said, like the victory that you had on Sunday was, 100% perfect and you're great. But it was like in kind of like a sarcastic way that he says that. It says your actions were like really cowardly. Why? Because, you took advantage of a man that had to go through the Elimination Chamber. And then out of that, you just beat me because it was easy for you to do that. And he's like, I know how great you are. I know the legacy that you're leaving. But like I know, you remember, it's like our first match was with me, so I know how talented you were gonna be. But now I want you to defend the title at Fastlane 1-on-1 against me. So like I guess I was actually excited. I'm like, maybe they should have a match, like to kind of build Fastlane, because it's like if you don't have a match like marquee match, what are you gonna do with this main event? On the pay-per-view, it's not gonna even like nobody's gonna watch.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely love this, to be honest. When Bryan came out, he just made a dick out of Roman Reigns the whole time. Just like, oh, yeah, you were such a genuine, or generous champion, and gave, me the match after I went through hell in the Elimination Chamber, and blah, blah, blah. So, like I said, just making a dick out of him, which was great. And, then he says, how about you and me? Because a lot of people remember when Daniel Bryan, WrestleMania 30, like he's the future, and Vince is like, no, I want, Roman Reigns to be the future. Then there's all the conspiracy theorists out there that says that's why Daniel Bryan had this injury, and they're like, oh, you're not ever going to be cleared to wrestle, blah, blah, blah. But, let's not go off topic with that. But it's like this is a marquee matchup. It's like the fans' favorite versus the company's favorite. So to me, I think it would be a legit match at Fastlane. I was really excited to see it. I'm glad they weren't giving it away on TV, and they're like, let's do it at the pay-per-view.
But
then what you tell me, Oos?
Well, our best friend, Jay Uso comes on and like, what's up, Oos? Oos, you got the match, Oos, so you got to be in the end of the line right now.
The only thing I will say, though, I do like how Roman doesn't really talk, and he just keeps it, like, quiet and stern, and then, like, his little chihuahua, Jay Uso, does all the barking. I like that, though. It's like, they each have their dynamic.
Yes, it is true. Like, like a Roman stays always like pretty composed, he grounded and he doesn't react to it. And then Jey Uso like start attacking Daniel Bryan. And then Roman shows like a smile. He was all happy about it. So that was the first segment that we're going to have. So like we know that like at some point they're going to try to have like the match, in throughout the night, that we're going to make it, official. So also, I feel that it was a pretty decent start for what it was SmackDown. And I like that. So now we go to like, the officer that we got to Adam Pearce and also Sonya Deville. And they're talking to Adam Cole and Edge. And Edge is like, oh, so like you're going to give the guy the match instead of me? Before me, so like he's kind of like, so I won the Royal Rumble and I won Roman. Like they were like, no. He's like, let us like calm down. He's like, oh good, like just we're gonna like figure it out. You're fine. And then we got to see the big dog, and he's like, well, take care of Daniel Bryan. So like like you said, Roman pretty much says one or two things. Like take care of it, and then Jay's like, okay.
Yeah, because Jay's like, oh, I'm sorry, I jumped the gun and all this stuff. He's like, something about causing a problem, and Roman's like, well, if you take care of the job, it won't be a problem.
Yeah.
As like, if you take care of Bryan, if you kick his ass tonight and dispose of him, then there's no issue. But if Bryan kicks your ass, then there's going to be an issue.
Exactly. And what you said is like something that I want to like just reiterate is like the dynamic works pretty well now because you understand what Jay does for Roman.
Yes, they both, no pun intended, being family of the Rock, but they both know their role.
Yes, they rolled it in, and it portrays really well. So that's something good. And then Edge is like saying like this match at WrestleMania is going to be great, but he needs Roman in it. So if it is Daniel Bryan, it's going to be maybe not as great. So like Adam Pearce is like, well, it's going to be fine. Don't worry. Hey, Roman could retain, and then you guys could have the match at WrestleMania. So like Edge is like, why are you guys disrespecting me? So he's completely like he's not happy at all. So you see,
well, like now, what do you think of that personally? To me, it should be like, what does it matter who wins? He has the match locked at WrestleMania. He should just sit back and hope these two guys beat the shit out of each other. So then whoever's the winner is kind of limping into WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, that's my thing. Is like I don't think that like needs to care about Roman.
Yeah, I don't think there's that much of a blood feud between Edge and Roman that he like, oh, I need Roman. It's not like Shawn Michaels and the Undertaker. Like I need the Undertaker.
Yeah, so it hasn't.
It's nothing like that.
Level yet.
No.
It hasn't. So like you
Now,
said,
if he would have went after Beth or beat up Christian or something, then it's like, oh, okay.
it's personal, and
Yeah,
then and also like the title doesn't need to be involved
yeah.
when it's that much personal. So like
And
you're
don't
right
we
on
always
that.
say the feuds are so much better when it's like that?
Yes, exactly.
And the belt's on the line, and it's for the title, but it's also personal. Like when you can combine those two things, because it should always be for the belt, but when you can combine them both, it's so great.
Oh, yeah, it's true. So like let's go to finally. It took us 20 minutes for the first match, and that was gonna be like a rematch from last week, and that was like Dominic Mysterio with Papa Ray, not with Papa Buck. Papa Ray going against Otis, and also like Chad Gable. What is the Alpha Factory, right?
Yes,
So,
and
like,
I want to get your opinion on this match and the outcome before I give you mine.
yeah,
Tell me what you think.
Yeah, I mean, like they did the same thing, but like at least they're trying to establish Otis as a heel, and like Chad Gable is pretty much like the person that guides him. But like Chad is the mastermind of this. Maybe Otis doesn't want to be a heel, so they're playing with that fact. Remember, like Taki, how like fun Otis was. So I feel that that's what they did. But it bothered me that like Dominic and Ray, they look really good, and then all of a sudden like a big comeback from the heels and done. That's the only thing. But like I understand why they're doing it, because it's just like they want Otis to be a believable heel.
Yes, I mean you see that's why this team works so good here. That's why we would be the tag champs, wherever we go, because I'm thinking exactly the same way. The only thing, like you said, the pacing of the match, it was like, oh, the Mysterios were doing so good. I thought they were actually going to get the win over Chad Gable, yes. And he makes the hot tag to Otis, and like you said, Otis is just like the Incredible Hulk. He comes in and cleans house, boom, that big huge splash, 1, 2, 3, and done. And it's like, okay, but now does Otis look legit? Yes, he's never looked better on the main roster.
No.
So they're pushing him. Imagine if he had Money in the Bank now and Chad Gable was like guiding him, and then it would be like, okay,
then
maybe we see something here.
Yeah, you believe the guy. Yeah, it will be fine. I would much rather see that. So I mean, like I said,
but the only thing I want to say too, and I'm sure you feel the same way, is like, why was this the Mysterios?
Yeah,
this could have just been another team, because it's but I guess because they don't have anything for the Mysterios. I really don't know what they're doing, unless they're just going to have them go on a big losing streak, and then it starts for them to feud for maybe they'll have a match at WrestleMania. I don't know, but I really feel. I really just feel like the Mysterios are directionless.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Especially Dominic. Also, like Dominic is the big problem, because like he had like a big future.
Yeah, and I think the whole like Aaliyah. And I think the whole Aaliyah and Buddy Murphy storyline being canceled, I don't think that has anything to do with it. I feel like you could easily write in stories for these two. They just don't know or don't care.
Yeah, well, like you said, like they should be like either like if they're gonna split up to have finally the match of WrestleMania, and maybe like your dream match. Remember that he gives the match to like Dominic and all good, and I'm done. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Like you said, like they're directionless. That's the big issue with that, because Seth left. It's like, oh, what do we do? Corbin, and then the thing with Cutler, like that. They haven't been able to have a steady rivalry. They don't have anybody, and then Corbin beat both of them. There's no reason to have another match. So it's really sad to see Rey Mysterio in this light.
Yeah,
because especially if he's gonna retire or like have his last years in the WWE, I would much rather him to be having like good feuds.
I'd much rather have him be doing like a retirement tour, like 2 matches in New Japan, 2 or 3 in AEW. Okay, I'll let me wrestle like Rich Swann in Impact for the Impact title. Okay, legit. Put Rich Swann over. Do like a tour. Go to Ring of Honor, wherever. Go back to Mexico. Obviously do a bunch of matches there. Maybe even have his final match there. That would be badass.
It will be amazing, but like they don't want to do that.
But instead, just getting losing to Otis.
Otis. I mean, like,
but it does do good for Otis, though. I'll close on that. It does do good,
yes. Like like otherwise they're trying to establish him as like a good heel with Chad Gable. Maybe if the title switch hands from like what it is right now, Roode and Ziggler, maybe they will have a chance to challenge. We'll see what they do with that. Mm-hmm. And now let's go to like a complete full-fledged heel. And that's Apollo Crews, and then he's going to be explaining his actions about what happened with Big E last week, and we get to see, remember, like what he hit him with the steel steps. So like you see like all of that, and then you see finally this smile. There you go, Jean Paul. I feel good.
That's the face when you're watching Rope Break.
That's right.
You're
yeah,
like,
when
that's
you have
right.
the wallet, because when you subscribe to Rope Break, that's the face,
yep.
And then they will tell you the why, and then Apollo said many people have asked me, what's going on with me? What's why am I acting this way? And he's like, I'm not the same because nobody really know me. I like that line. Nobody really got to know me. For many years I've tried to be respectful, follow the rules, but I don't come from the hood. I come really from Nigeria, and it's absolutely the truth. I actually did a little bit of research. He has his parents are come from Nigeria, so he has Nigerian descent on that. And he says my blood comes from Nigerian royalty, and he explains that the scarf, not the scarf that I use, but his one, he has represents more of the pride, domination, and power. So he has the colors of the Nigerian flag right there, and he's I show Big E that I'm made of steel. I will not allow anybody else to disrespect me that way. And I'm going to start with my first opponent with Shinsuke Nakamura. So you see Apollo finally, really good on the mic. I liked it.
Oh, to me, Apollo, that's what I mean. This show to me was just going good because I didn't hate the Mysterio match. Like I said, it looked good for Otis, and then we get this great promo from Apollo, and I'm like, this is awesome. As much as I want Nakamura to win, and let's say hopefully he can beat Apollo, but I'm booking so far ahead. When Big E returns, I want Apollo to beat him.
Oh yeah,
he's so good with this character, and he's doing it so well because maybe like you said, this is him. He's not just being that nice, smiley guy, okay, no, he's being who he is. Yeah. He's, and when it's coming, he can show his roots and his heritage and stuff, I'm sure that makes it even more special for him. So this is really great. And I'd put the belt on him. You know what I mean? And even let's say he has the belt and he loses, to book far enough ahead, I'd love to see a match with him and Edge.
That would be fine
because he's such an athlete. He'll be able to do stuff, bump for Edge, and do all this stuff. And Edge is still, in I wouldn't say the prime of his career, but he can still put on a hell of a match. So this would be really good to see.
Yeah, and now moving on to the match with Shinsuke Nakamura. I mean, it sucks for Shin again. He's a baby face one more time. He got his theme song back, but yet can he win? Can he have the mystique that he had before? No, really big German suplex right there for Apollo. Then he starts using the scarf for some advantage, and then he got the win. So Apollo actually beats Shinsuke Nakamura. That really sucks. I feel really bad for Shinsuke because he deserves a lot better. But now they got to put over Apollo. Because heel turn or new gear, the Nigerian flag. I like it though. I really like it. I think it's a good decision that they did at the expense of Nakamura. That's the only thing.
Yeah, and see, they were pushing Nakamura and making him look legit, and then he puts over Apollo Crews, so now that makes Apollo look even better. But hopefully, if they just keep Nakamura involved in this, then hopefully, then it's fine to me. But if he loses and then goes back and we don't see him for a while, then I'll call bullshit. But I'm fine with it because if Nakamura would have beat Apollo, then his whole promo and all that would have just been it would have been bullshit.
No, it would be bad. Yes, absolutely agree with you. So now let's move on to of course, these little promos bother me somewhat, not a lot, but it seems like Roman is running the show, and I hate that. I hate that thought that he runs the show, but then Paul Heyman says, the original plan was for Fastlane, got ruined because tonight if Bryan defeats Jey Uso, then he's gonna have the match at Fastlane. So the plan, the original plan was Edge at Roman at WrestleMania, but it's so you see just Roman. So what's gonna happen? So we'll see what they do. That's pretty much the story that they're trying to tell us. And now we go to the girls, and then the girls we go with Liv Morgan against Tamina. This was quick, and rightfully so, because unfortunately, if you're not Bianca Belair, if you're not Sasha Banks, neither one of the girls in this show are portrayed or presented in a serious way, or at least believable way for me. That's what I can tell you. I just don't like this. It's boring. I don't want to see this again.
No, and you know what? I was really, high on the Riot Squad. I was always saying, oh, I want them to be legit. I want them to be pushed. But, we keep seeing what we see every week, and I mean, I want to see it, but I'm going to stop saying it because I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not going to stop being an idiot and stop running into a brick wall because it's, I'm never going to break through it here. So, I mean, I don't know, push Tamina and Natalya, that's fine. When Raquel and Dakota Kai win it, if they want to challenge these two, Raquel can match up against Tamina. Dakota Kai and Natalya should make an interesting matchup, and obviously vice versa. You switch them. So, I mean, if you want to push them, fine. At least push somebody, but don't push somebody one week and then they lose the following week and you trade wins and losses and nobody goes anywhere.
It is true. It is true. I was just getting a little bit of water here, but it's true. It bothers me the fact that Liv Morgan is the one that getting the pin. And, Tamina looks good. When they want to portray Tamina really well, they do it. And this is one of the instances that like they make her look like a monster. I mean, she's not that much skillful in the ring, but like a nice super kick, and she's actually using finally a new finisher. So that's something that I really appreciate. Ismael Ocampo is saying, hey, how you doing, Ismael? So thank you so very much for being with us. And, like he's like, you see like right there, Tamina like gets the win. I like the sidewalk slam that she's doing. Like reminds me of like the Big Boss Man slam. That's really cool. I really appreciate that. And like you see Liv Morgan, another defeat. You see the Riot Squad completely an afterthought. And like you said, all of a sudden, in a matter of a week, Billie Kay not in the show. And now, Natalya and Tamina are the ones that are being pushed. So I really don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it doesn't. This whole women's division, unless you're in the main event, and that's on both shows, it's just a mess. It's like they put the names, in a machine, and they are in a hat, and they just shake up the hat. And it's like, all right, let's see who's gonna win. Oh, it's this person. Oh, okay, like it's all random.
Oh yeah, no. So like I don't really like that, but that's what we got. So like we'll see what happens. I mean, it sucks for the Riot Squad. Like you said, we both believe that like they were a good team. They were supposed to be pushed. Not happened that way. Let's see what happens with them. But like, we're going to find out Bianca Belair's decision. That's what is the main theme, one of the main themes of the show. And, like, I mean, we kind of knew where the path was going to go. So like, of course, WWE have to make you believe that the path is going to go in a different direction. But nope, it just went normal. And, Bianca is right there in the ring with like Sonya Deville and Pearce. She says that like her mother told her that, decisions are really important in life, because if you don't decide, if you don't take the right decision, then it can affect the rest of your life forever. Or like, or like it can damage your life. So she's like, she's ready to make that decision. What do you think of this? Reginald coming out every single time, to me, that takes away the seriousness. I don't understand why he's just there. Even Michael Cole said, isn't he like the sommelier or like the assistant from like Carmella? What does Reginald have to do with all of this? I don't like this.
Yeah, he keeps coming out, and I think that this is just because he's eventually going to join up with Sasha Banks. I still believe that's what's going to happen, and because Sasha came out soon after, you knew that was going to happen, and because he just is putting his nose in Sasha's business, and she acts like she doesn't want him in there, but like secretly, I think they're going to be like, just kidding, we're working together. But yeah, I mean, this killed all the seriousness of the segment. I mean, Bianca was a little bit too like, oh, I'm so happy. Like, I know exactly how many days and minutes it's been since I won the Royal Rumble. Like, be a little bit more like the EST, like we saw on NXT, like sassy, didn't take no shit. Like, that's the Bianca Belair I want to see. But, but still it was fine. But like you said, Reginald coming out just killed it for me.
It kills it. And, he was pretty much, hey, well, if you pick Sasha, you're gonna lose, and all of that, all of that. But Sasha says, if you wanna be in one of the most important matches of WrestleMania, you gotta pick me. Are you saying that you're like the EST of WWE? I don't believe it, because I am the best. I am number one, and that makes you number two. So like that really ignited the fire on Bianca, and Bianca said, you know what? Fine, it's you. I'm picking you, and at WrestleMania it's gonna be you and me. So like this is gonna be, we knew the path, and it's fine. It's interesting because we don't really know the winner. Because like I like, and I don't know a lot about football. I know you know more than me, but like at least what Corey said is like pretty much Tom Brady and Mahomes. Because it made a lot of sense when he used that comparison, because Bianca is the upper comer. She doesn't have a lot of experience, while Sasha is like, he's won pretty much everything in the WWE. So that comparison was one of the few times that actually WWE makes sense on that. Paul, I think your microphone's off.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. I think Bianca to me is the clear winner here, and I think you're gonna turn Sasha heel from now until WrestleMania. But like I agree, that comparison's good, and it's gotta be the passing of the torch, not like we saw at this past year's Super Bowl where the Bucks completely destroyed the Kansas City Chiefs. I think it'll be the opposite. But they'll put on a good match. But I think Bianca's gonna go over, and you're gonna really turn Sasha heel. Because what did they say in the Stone Cold video? They said, oh, like, you're a great baby face, but man, you work so much better as a heel. So like,
yes.
They acknowledge it on a big show like that. And hey, why not give the best match? Sasha does her best work as a heel. This is the biggest show of the year. So turn her heel.
Oh yeah, it will be fine. I think that is a really good, way that they're doing it. It makes is the right decision, because Asuka and Bianca, I mean, it will be a great match, but I think that like you can tell a better story with Sasha. Like they have the same path. Like she calls herself the number one. Bianca goes for the same motto. So it makes a lot of sense that you make them clash. And like you said, the winner, the outcome of this is actually up in the air for me. because either, like you said, passing on the torch, or maybe Sasha like shows that she's number one and Bianca is not quite ready yet. So that's when you bring a little bit of that intrigue in me, I'm like, okay, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. So, something that you didn't bring any intrigue on is this. Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin, they hate each other. They're both heels. I mean, in my way of thinking, like, heels should align themselves really quickly. It doesn't happen that way. He's like, I don't know why my
especially because they both, when Corbin was like, well, Sami, I do agree with you. I think if we combine our talents, we'd be a hell of a tag team and we'd easily win tag team gold. Well, isn't that enough? Isn't that the only reason you're a wrestler, to win tag team gold? Because when you're a champion, you make more money.
Exactly. So no, they didn't happen that way. No,
Corbin was too busy, worrying the cameraman filming him. Maybe he's camera shy, so I guess we'll never have him on Rope Break.
Yes,
but I mean, I'm like, I don't get this guy. And of course, I just hate how the Street Profits. I get it; they're marketable, and I think they're a good team. They're just too pushed down your throat, and it's exhausting to see these guys all the time. And, the thing is just like, oh, how come they didn't have their title rematch? How come they didn't have I'm like, why is the Street Profits the only team that gets like a title rematch when that's not a rule anymore?
Team we see, I cannot see, Otis and Chad Gable, Alpha, like the Alpha Factory. They should be the ones,
like, why is it the Street Profits? I'm like, I don't get it. And also, they're really trying to push the Street Profits, correct? Am I correct in that assessment? Yeah. Well, then why would you have it that the cameraman gets in Baron Corbin's face, distracts him, and that's how they get the win? Why wouldn't you have them beat this team clean to establish themselves as, oh yeah, we're legit, we're coming back for our titles? They won in a bullshit fashion, so it makes them almost look like not heels, but it makes them look like they got a sneaky win over a team that was superior to them.
Oh yeah, and like we got to see also like the tag team champions right there, Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. They were actually watching the whole match, and like you said, like this interaction between Baron Corbin and the camera people, that allows the distraction. And also like in Montez Ford, like he didn't even go like all the way to the top rope to like do the splash. He went to like mid rope, or like he actually did something in between the ropes, and then he did the splash.
And tell me, did that take you out of it, all that kind of bullshit interaction with the cameraman and everything, or were you still like into it?
No, I mean, I will say it, I will say it pretty in the open. Like, I don't think the Street Profits should be like presented in this fashion. I think that like they need to win matches. They need to, like get themselves a title shot, not just because, oh yeah, we were the longest tag team, reign in the modern era or something like that.
You know what I want to see, and I don't think they'll do it for a while, but I want to see how these guys would be heel.
Heel, it will be much better because of how annoying they presented them.
Yeah.
When you're heel, you can be presented even more annoying than that. So like that's what I want to see from the Street Profits, because again, like you said, the main word is marketable, and because everybody loves them and all of that. I'm not a big fan.
But I guess if you think about it, we only have who are the babyface tag teams? Would be the Street Profits and the Mysterios, and then the heel tag teams would be the Dirty Dogs and then Alpha Factory, and I guess Corbin and Sami Zayn. So you have 4 or 5 tag teams, really.
So like you don't have a lot of play. No. You don't have a room to play with all these tag teams. So this doesn't make a lot of sense. I really don't like it. So let's go with like Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan is cutting a promo. He says to Kayla Braxton that he has a lot of possibilities, like to go and win, beat Jey Uso, and then he might go and challenge, for like the title at Fastlane with Roman Reigns. And then he's like, well, I want to face Edge. Edge shows up. And he also mentions it's like maybe Edge doesn't have what it takes anymore. It's like, I'm not saying that he doesn't, but it's like, he's on the older side, and then shows up out of nowhere like Andrew the Giant, right? So you see the shirt, and he says, well, maybe it could be a great match between us, but first you gotta beat Jey Uso, and then your possibilities will be bigger, because then you get a title shot, and then you go all the way to like go against me at WrestleMania. So this interaction, I didn't even understand a lot. I didn't know what was happening there.
Yeah, I didn't know if it's like, is Daniel Bryan kind of be heel? Is he just trying to get under Edge's skin? I didn't really get it. But what would you think? Would you be fine if Daniel Bryan won, or do you want to see Edge versus Roman? Like, which match do you think is more WrestleMania?
I'm fine either way. I'm fine either way because, both will be great matches. And I'm supporting Edge all the way. So, like, I don't care who he beats. I don't care who he hugs. And then 1, 2, 3, that's fine, because I just want to see Edge win the title. Maybe like a lot of people.
I would say do Edge. I would say do Edge versus Roman at WrestleMania, and then maybe do this for SummerSlam or something. Maybe you give Roman the title reign until then, he loses, and then Bryan can have that big match there, because I do think they're going to do Bryan versus Edge at some point. But I mean, I still think you should do Bryan versus Roman at Fastlane. No.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think, like I said, probably they're gonna do it, but maybe we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. But I think that this thing with Edge, we'll see what happens, because Daniel Bryan and Edge going at each other is like I don't know, it's not too baby face like, but we'll see what happens. So let's go to like our Friday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins. He comes out with like the same Burn It Down, but like at least they took away that like crappy song that he had, so he doesn't call himself the Messiah anymore. But like he's just talking about like how he sent that letter, and he had a huge response on that, and I'm just got a lot of positive feedback from it. And then Cesaro interrupts Seth, but then he talks to Seth. Said the stuff that like he's saying to Cesaro was really, really good. Is like, you could be a tremendous star, you could be like the most powerful man that ever stepped his foot in the ring, but if you just follow me, because I accomplished everything in the WWE, everything that you only have dreamt of. I love that line. That completely crashed with your Cesaro, but I really like that. And he's like, but if you would have followed my advice, if you would have just embraced my vision, you would already been the Universal Champion. You would have been the Chamber, you would have been Roman, and then you would have been fine. So like he's trying to get, align Cesaro with him. He's trying to recruit Cesaro with him. But like, Seth, I think the lines are really convincing, but not for Cesaro. Because he says, embrace the vision. And then he goes with like Cesaro swing. So like, I'll ask your thoughts when the segment is over, but like, he's like, I like this when he goes, don't do it. And then, So what do you think of all of this?
I mean, this was great. Rollins, his work is good. Like you said, he came out and he's putting over Cesaro. Oh, you might be the best pound for pound, wrestler ever, using that. They always, say that about Cesaro. And he's like, but you don't have that killer instinct. Like you said, you're pretty much like a loser. And he's like, not like saying you're a loser, but you're a loser, and he's pretty much just like, kind of igniting this fire. And I'm glad that this feud, I hope it goes until WrestleMania. Maybe Rollins gets a bullshit win at Fastlane if they want to book it twice. We've seen feuds like that where they have, okay, here's the one match, and then the big blow off is at WrestleMania. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Cesaro will beat him on a match at SmackDown. Then, that will be a match 1-for-1, and then they have the tiebreaker or something. I don't know, but I'm excited for this program no matter where they do it. I hope it's at WrestleMania, though. And Cesaro, I think, is good. He's the same thing like Apollo and, Nakamura. They're finally pushing these guys who we wanted to see push for the longest time. So that's why I think this show, is, I can't complain, honestly.
It's getting better. Yes, like you said. And he did also like an uppercut. So that's pretty cool. I mean, I love Cesaro, like the style, the European style. I love how, like, he always like has good matches with anybody. So he finally deserves it. So like you said, maybe, hey, he beat Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. That's a big win. Unless you're Kevin Owens. Because if you're Kevin Owens, you beat him at WrestleMania, nothing happens with your career. But like, let's hope like they cash in with all the momentum that he get with, win a victory over Seth Rollins. So that will be really cool. So let's go to main event time, Policy. When we have fun, you get to the main event really quick. So like if Bryan wins, then he earns a Universal Championship match at Fastlane. So that was like the main thing. And this match was a pretty decent. I'm not going to call it like a great match, but like this photo I really love, this picture. Cesaro and Bryan, they're aligned, they're best friends. Like, yeah, legit. It's like, be legit, bro. Win that match. But what did you think of this match? Because it never really picked up for me. It was just like it's like a straight line. It was good, but it never went to like better or like really great.
And I think that's because they weren't ever going to kick it into that high gear, because as you saw, the match ended kind of in like what would be just like the middle of a normal match. Because, I mean, these guys were fighting and it was good. I mean, Bryan went for the knee, Jey Uso dodged it and everything. And Uso, super kicks, and he's good. They call him main event Uso for a reason. He's in there with main event guys. He looked good in the Elimination Chamber. He looked good in this match against Bryan tonight. So they're presenting Jey Uso in a singles manner, really good, I would say. So, this is all benefiting him, definitely being a part of this group with Roman. Just one thing that we don't normally make note of, but they were just fighting on the outside. Like you said, it wasn't like fast paced. Oh, here's the climax of the match, the ending or anything. No, just fighting on the outside. And then, 8, 9, and like, he slams Bryan's knee, because the whole time the story was going after the injured knee of Daniel Bryan. That was the whole story. And, he hitting the knee there, and then the match pretty much ends. And it's like, okay, just a count out. So that's, technically Jey Uso did his job. He prevented Daniel Bryan from getting the match at Fastlane because he had to beat Jey Uso. So he did his job, but then of course it's like, he just beat up Daniel Bryan, did all this shit to him, and as soon as it's over, Daniel Bryan must have popped his sensu bean or something like that because he immediately, boom, went in and the yes lock on him, and apparently he was fine. So, that big slam on the steel steps, that just wore off. But I mean, this is cool visual and everything, obviously, and the babyface gets his revenge after the match, which is going to lead to, hopefully, a match at Fastlane, but that wasn't it. Because, of course, the big dog, he always opens the show. He has to close the show as well. So the spear and then the guillotine, and he jokes out Bryan and, done. So we didn't see Edge didn't come out to make the save. There was nothing like that. That kind of surprised me, but I still think this is good because it wasn't just Daniel Bryan wins, yes, to close the show. The heel's on top, so that's going to make you want to tune in next week to see if the heel's going to get his ass handed to him. So.
Yeah, and we'll see. Maybe next week Daniel Bryan is going to still lobby for the match. So we'll see what happens if he actually gets it. I feel that.
You know what was a surprise? And now correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. No backstage attack tonight on any on this show.
Attacks on anybody. So
NXT, AEW, take note.
Yeah, or
it can be done.
Well, we shouldn't shit on the NXT UK, but any other company, please take notice of that. So, like you said, Daniel Bryan might lobby for an opportunity next week, maybe Edge, So we're gonna see. This is still in his slow burn, slow cook.
Yes,
slow cook. So we'll see what happens because we still have 2 more weeks, or it's gonna be Fastlane. So the big dog is still every single show he gets, like you said, he gets a big, upper hand advantage. So we'll see what happens. I hope that they actually have the match with Bryan because maybe Edge could even in the match interrupt or cause distraction or something, and then Roman retains because it's well, Bryan, I don't want you now. I want Roman.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do, but I think overall it was a pretty decent episode of SmackDown.
Yeah, I agree. This was good. If they keep it up, giving me this same quality, or better than SmackDown, it'll actually be an enjoyable show to watch moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. So this was the show that we have for you guys, family. Thank you so very much. Don't forget to please help us out, subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. We put content every single day. Please next time also comment. We want to hear what you guys think. Hey, I'm loving SmackDown. I love Monday Night Raw. Hey, NXT is better, NXT UK or AEW, because we cover every single show. Also, don't forget, in 2 weeks, we're going to have Revolution with AEW. Also, Sacrifice with Impact. So, Moose against, Rick Swann for the title. So, a lot of good things happening for us, and also for you guys, because you guys enjoy what we do. So, where else can they find us on the social media world?
And then also don't forget to follow us, Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, and of course right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
Thank you so very much, family. So next time we'll see each other will be for Monday Night Raw. So we'll see you then. You and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...